Good morning, everyone. I'm Jane, and today we will share a topic of footwear and apparel content label requirement in Europe and US markets. Here is the agenda of our presentation. We will introduce the relevant fiber labeling regulations for the textile products, and then we will share some information about the textile fiber name and the expression of composition. In third part, we will introduce the footwear material label requirements, and in the end, we will have a Q&A session. Now let's start from part 1. In Europe, the regulation on textile fiber names and related labeling and marking of the fiber composition of textile products is the EU number 1007/2011. In US markets, there are 3 relevant acts, which are 16 CFR Part 303 for textile fiber products identification, and Part 300 for wool products labeling, Part 301 for the fur products labeling. Today, we will focus on 16 CFR Part 303, the rules and identification under the Textile Fiber Products Identification Act. Here are the scopes for these 2 regulations. In Europe, the regulation EU number 1007/2011 is applicable for the textile products that exclusively composed of textile fibers. For other products which containing the textile fibers or textile components, the keywords to decide if they are within the scope are containing at least 80% by weight. And this regulation also applicable for textiles incorporated in other products and forming an integral part thereof, where their composition is specified. In the US market, the coverage products are listed in Part 303.45. Here is the link. You can check the details. There are 23 kinds of products included in this act. Here are some examples, such as the article of wearing apparel, the handkerchiefs, scarves, beddings, floor covering, umbrellas, cushions, furniture slip covers, and etc. Also, the regulations also have the exemption or exclusion. In Europe, the regulation is not applicable for textile products which are contracted out to persons working in their own homes or to independent firms where customized textile products are made up by self-employed tailors. And the complete list of exempted products are given in Annex 5 of the regulation. Here is the link. You can check the detail. There are some examples listed in this slide. For example, the sleeve supporting armband, traveling goods of textile materials, toys, textile parts of footwear, flags and planners, and etc. These products are not mandatory to attach the fiber label to the products. And in US market, the exclusion products are also listed in Part 303.45. Here are some examples, such as the belts, suspenders, the non-woven products of a disposal nature intended for one-time use only. The coated fabrics are exclusions from this act. Now let's go to part 2. In Europe, the textile fiber names listed in Annex 1 of the regulation must be used in the fiber label. And in US market, the generic names of fibers to be used are shown in Part 303.6 and .7. Nowadays, using the eco-friendly fiber is the trend of the industry. Here we will share two classic eco-friendly fibers, which are the organic cotton and recycled material. Now let's see the organic cotton first. In Europe, the regulation EU number 1007/2011 allows only the fiber names listed in the Annex 1 to be mentioned on the label. Article 16.2 of the regulation allows the possibility to add additional information, and these kinds of information shall be displayed separately. And also the information must not be deceptive and misleading to consumers. For example, in Europe market, you cannot label 100% organic cotton as the fiber label. Instead, the fiber content can be labeled as 100% cotton with the additional information, cotton organic fibers. And these kinds of additional information shall be displayed separately from the fiber label information. And also the manufacturer must substantiate such kinds of claim according to the acceptable program or methods. But in US, the FTC regulation 16 CFR 303 allow only the generic name cotton to be indicated on the label. Other marketing claim must be substantiated and must not be false or misleading. And the term organic is regulated by the United States Department of Agriculture. To claim organic, the product must be certified by an authorized body through any of the below program. The first program is USDA National Organic Program, and the second one is Global Organic Textile Standards, which means if your in US market, if your products have been certified by an authorized body through NOP program or GOTS program, then you can mark 100% organic cotton to the fiber label. It's just for US markets. And about the recycled material, we give an example of recycled polyester here. And the situation in the Europe market is similar with the organic cotton. The recycled words cannot be shown on the fiber label, and they can be shown as the additional information and displayed separately. Here is an example. If the product is made from 60% cotton and 40% recycled material, then the fiber label should be stated as 60% cotton, 40% polyester, with the additional information, polyester recycled fibers. And also, the manufacturer must substantiate these kinds of claims according to the acceptable program or methods. And in US, the FTC allow use of environment claim for the recycled content, such as 60% recycled polyester. And however, such claim must be substantiated and comply with the regulation 16 CFR 260. And this is the responsibility of the manufacturer, which means in US you can claim, you can use recycled words to the fiber label, but you have to substantiate these kinds of claim according to the acceptable program or method, and this kind of claim, environment claim, should be complied with the regulation 16 CFR 260. And in this slide, we will introduce the case of fiber trade name. Sometimes we will use the trade name in the fiber label. And we have noticed that in both Europe and US markets, the use of trademark or names are allowed, but they should be marked to the label in conjunction with the generic name of the fiber to which it relates. Here is an example. LYCRA is the trade name of the fiber elastin or spandex, and we can show it to the fiber label. But LYCRA, the fiber trade name LYCRA should be shown immediately before or after the fiber the generic fiber name elastic or spandex. Here is the example. We can show the labels as 19% cotton, 10% LYCRA elastic as the fiber label in Europe, and in US you can use the generic name spandex. And in the following slides, we will share some special expression of composition. The first special case is the fibers present in amount of less than 5%. In Europe, one fiber up to 5% by weight or collectively up to 15% may be designated by the term other fibers. Here, the word may indicates the permission, which means if a fiber presents in amount of less than 5%, in Europe, they can designate it by its generic fiber name or by the term other fibers. But in US, no fiber present in the amount of less than 5% shall be designated by its generic name, but shall be designated as other fiber. The fibers have functional significance, such as the spandex, rubbers, and etc. are exempted, which means in US, if the fiber presents in amount of less than 5%, they should only be shown as other fiber in the fiber label. Here is the example. We can see that the cotton, nylon, linen, and acrylic are all present in amount of less than 5%. In Europe, they can be labeled as in two ways. But in US, these kinds of fibers can only be designated as other fibers in the fiber label. So if your products include such kinds of fibers and export it to both US and Europe markets, you should pay attention on the fiber label. And the other special case is the decorative fibers. In Europe, if the decorated isolable fiber do not exceed 7% by weight, or the embroidered parts less than 10% by surface area, and these kinds of composition are not required to consider in the fiber composition. And in US, the percentage rate is different. It's 5% of the total fiber weight and 15% of the surface area. For the multi-component textile products, in both US and Europe markets, they should be indicated separately for different components in the fiber label. About the tolerance, both of Europe and US, the manufacturing tolerance is 3% between the stated fiber composition and the percentage obtained from the analysis. Here is an example. If the fiber label is 80% cotton and 20% polyester, then the accepted lab result should be cotton between 77% to 83%, and polyester should be between 23% to 17%, which means if the actual test result fall in this range, then we can comment the fiber. Then we can comment the fiber composition test is passed in the test reports. And now we will go to part 3. We will introduce the footwear material label requirements. In US, there is no specific act or regulations for the footwear material label requirements. So we will focus on the label requirements in Europe market here. In Europe, there is a directive 94/11/EC. It is a directive relating to labeling of the materials used in the main components of footwear for sale to the consumer. And this directive is not applicable to second-hand worn footwear, and also it's not applicable to protective footwear and toy footwear. In Europe, the material label of the footwear should indicate the different parts with pictograms or written indications. And there are 3 main parts. The first part is the upper. Here is the related pictogram. The second part is the lining and sock. And the third part is the outsole. 3 pictograms for the specific parts. And also, the material of different parts should also be shown in the material label. There are 4 kinds of materials: the leather, the coated leather, textile, and other material. And each material has their own pictogram. Here is an example. From this label, we can see that this footwear's upper is made from the leather material, and the lining and insole, they are made of the textile material, and the outsole part is made of the other materials such as the rubber or other plastic and etc. And we can see that for footwear, the material label is much more simpler than the apparel fiber content label, right? Well, thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Now we will go to the Q&A part.
That's brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jane. That was really good, and I completely agree. It's so much simpler for footwear than apparel, isn't it? Now, we have had quite a few questions in at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a few minutes, so hopefully we can get through the majority of them. If you do have any other questions out there, please do put them into the Q&A function. So we're going to start off with one question, and I think this is something that quite a few people are wondering about. On the care label, is it allowed to state organic? So, for example, if your product is 100% organic cotton, could you say in the fibre section 100% organic cotton, or perhaps 100% cotton and then in brackets organic? Is that allowed, or does that need to be in a separate line or a separate area of the care label?
Yes, thank you. It's a very good question. Actually, I think many clients are concerned this part. And yes, as we mentioned previously, in Europe, the organic word cannot be shown in the fiber label content. Here, 100% cotton is the fiber label information. So the organic cannot show as the cannot show in the brackets followed by the fiber label content, but they can show additional additional information in separately. For example, in a separate line, we can show that 100% cotton and then enter, and to the next line of 100. The cotton is the organic cotton. Use this additional information in Europe. But in US, if your products have been certified in according to acceptable program or method, then you can show 100% organic cotton to the Fibre label. So different markets has different regulation requirements.
Perfect. And I suppose the next question is the second part, and we've got a couple of questions relating to this, very slightly different. Would the same apply if it's recycled? So for example, if you have an item which is polycotton and the cotton is organic and the polyester is recycled, would that be the same as what you've just said for the organic? So in the fibre content, you would just state 60% cotton, 40% polyester, but then on a separate area or a line down, you could then say 60%, cotton, organic, polyester, recycled.
Yes, this question is similar as the first one, and it depends on different markets. In Europe markets, we cannot show the organic or recycled words in the Fibre label, even in the brackets. They should shown in that separate line. And also in US markets, if your products have been the organic and the recycled claim have been substantiated according to acceptable program, then you can show the organic and recycled words to the label in US. Yeah.
Perfect. We do have an additional question when it comes to recycled content. And the question that's come through is, for example, we have something that's made of 100% polyester, but part of that is actually recycled polyester. So for example, 40% polyester. So when it comes to fibre labeling, is it just allowed to say 100% polyester, and then, as you've just said, in a separate line made with 40% recycled polyester? So we couldn't have it within Europe to say under the fibre content 60% polyester, 40% recycled polyester. It would need to be 100% polyester, and then a separate line saying made with 40% polyester.
Yes, you can show this. In the Fibre label, you can show 100% polyester, and with the additional information about the recycled content percentage in a separate line.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, we do have a few other questions that have come in as well. And it's a very good point here as well. So when we went through the scope of the care labelling within Europe, what was meant by the term travel goods of textile materials?
Yeah, thank you. Traveling good means the goods used for traveling, such as the luggage, the suitcase, and etc. Yeah, these kinds of products may contain textile material, but these kinds of textile material is not mandatory to show to attach a Fibre label.
That's fantastic. Okay, thank you. So what else do we have? Is the definition, this is a very good question actually, is the definition for organic the same in the UK and Europe as it is in the US? So we had that definition, didn't we, in the presentation for the US. Can we use the same definition in the UK or Europe, or is there a slightly different terminology that's used, do you know?
Yes, thank you. And as we mentioned in the PowerPoint, and all of the eco-friendly claim should be substantiated according to acceptable program or method. And nowadays, in Europe, there is no specific program are regulated, and we may use some popular program in the industry, such as the GOTS program, but in US, the USDA United States Department of the Agriculture have regulated that they should certify the products according to two programs, which are the USDA's NOP program and the GOTS program. So if your products are sold in these two markets, the Euro market and US market, we suggest you can substantiate your products according to the GOTS program, and the definition should be same as the programs that are required.
Perfect. Brilliant. Well, we've got a few more questions come through. We do have a minute or so left, so let's see if we can crack on with a couple of others. Travel goods. When we say travel goods and luggage, does this include backpacks for school, so rucksacks or any other school bags?
Yes. Actually, for traveling, if the bags is used for traveling, then we can conclude it as the travel goods. Yeah, it depends on the end use for the consumer. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, hopefully we've got time for just one more question, and it is quite a good one. I think we did pick it up very slightly in the presentation, but what is the minimum percentage of fibres allowed in a product to show that it does contain that fibre?
Yeah, actually there is no requirement for the minimum percentage of the fiber, and if your fiber is existed in the product homogeneously, then you can show these fibers percentage to the fiber label. But we should pay attention that if the fibers percent of the amount less than 5%, we have to pay attention that in US market, these kinds of fiber should not use their generic fiber name. Instead, they should claim as other fiber. Yeah.
Other fiber. Okay, fantastic. So I suppose that you could probably use the actual terminology as part of your other packaging or artwork or on a swing tag, potentially. Then would that be fine?
I'm sorry, can you?
So we said that if we had a fiber content that is up to 5%, we would need to use that as other fibers.
Yes.
But if, for example, that would have, and I'm just pulling up a fiber name, so like coconut, for example, as that 5%, could that be then used in marketing? So instead of it being on the actual fiber label, you could put on your marketing or on your packaging, includes coconut fibers.
Actually, I think it's better to show as other fiber will be better, because exactly 5%, as we know, there is tolerance of the testing. Yeah. If the fiber is tested less than 5%, then your fiber label maybe have risk. Yes. So yeah.
Brilliant. That's lovely. Thanks, Jane. I think we can all tell that there's always a lot of different questions, especially because people are going a lot more with sustainable fibers, a lot more in terms of recycled fibers. So if there are any other questions or you're still not certain, then do drop us an email or give us a call, and we can go through that with you, and just again either go into more deep dives or go into something in a little bit more detail for you, or even just help you out with some of the labeling requirements. Well, okay, well, I think we are 2 minutes over, so do apologise, but thank you so much for all the questions. As we said, we've recorded this webinar, so we'll be able to send a copy of the slides over to you, as well as a link to the site. This webinar will also be hosted upon the Tufts website on the on-demand webinar section as well. So thank you all very much indeed for joining us. Jane, thank you again for your fantastic presentation. It's been wonderful, and have a good day, everybody. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.